Intelligent people do not assume to know what will make them truly happy. We can't just assume that we know what is going to make us happy. We can't just assume that getting that job or signing that client or dating that person or getting married or moving to that place or looking that way is going to be it. At one point, Christmas made a lot of us more happy than it does now. At one point, a birthday party made us feel a lot more happy than it does now. If money made you happy when you were broke, the same amount of money is not going to make you happy when you're rich. Emotionally intelligent people do not assume being fearful is a sign that they are on the wrong path. A sign that you're on the wrong path is indifference. If you are fearful about something, that is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. You're being pushed towards something. That's intention. Who knows if it always will be the right thing? What we do know is that you're on the right path. It might not lead to exactly where you want, but you're going into a direction you know you need to go into. They know that happiness is a choice, but do not feel they need to make that choice all the time. Happiness is not a sustained state of joy. Being happy is moment by moment. If you were only experiencing one emotion all the time, then that's not living. You're not living. You're just in existence. Living the human experience means that you experience all the emotions. And you should allow yourself to say, I'm not in a happy right now. Emotionally intelligent people know that a feeling will not kill them. You're not going to die because you're angry. You're only going to die if you start doing stupid things because you're angry. Emotionally intelligent people do not confuse a bad feeling for a bad life. When you fight the bad feeling, when you fight the bad day, that is anything but peaceful. If you just come to grips with this is just not a good day for me. It's not my day. I got bad news. I lost a client. Somebody hit the back of my car on the way to the gym, and I just want to go home, go to sleep, and start this one over tomorrow. That's part of life. If I'm fighting against that bad day, if I'm fighting against that bad feeling, I'm causing war within myself. You're able to have peace when you just accept it. This is a bad stretch of life, or this is a bad day, or this is a bad week. These are bad feelings. But this doesn't make it a bad life.
We're live.
Live and alive. Live and alive. All you come in. All you come in this morning. Who we got in here? Good morning to everyone. What's today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Valley Girl, what's up? How you doing? Who else we got in here? Carmonia, how you doing? Aretha, what's up? Win Column Moderators, what's up? Bernard, what's up? Where you guys filing in from this morning? Where you guys filing in from this morning? We got a morning live, Aretha. I know Aretha's around where I'm from, or where I am and where I'm from.
Yeah.
Just
All
this
right.
morning, guys, I was reading Laws of Human Nature. So I'm going to get that up for you guys. How you doing, C?
I'm doing fine. I was just reading this article this morning that was talking about how, because Bad Bunny is expected to be performing at the next Super Bowl, right? And I was reading this article that was talking about how there are fears that ICE might be watching out for people outside the stadium when he's performing now. So it's like they're trying to scare people away.
Well, you can't scare people away from the Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl, so it's going to be sold out no matter what. Shout out to Belgium. I'm from the Caribbean as well, and so is C. Prophet Elisa. So is C. C's from Jamaica.
Yeah. Shout out to the Caribbean.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that he actually didn't do concerts originally in the U.S. and he did those ones in Puerto Rico specifically because he was afraid of ICE. I heard him say that in an interview. Shout out to Maria.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, That's gonna be a concern at one of the largest events in the world.
Well, I mean, I think it's crazy that it's a concern, but on the other hand, it's like for people who are on the side of ICE, they're like, oh, this is great, right? So there's always two sides to it, and that's what empathy is, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about this morning. Sorry, guys, I'm still a little bit under the weather, so if my energy is not there, that's the reason why. But it's been a week now. This makes a week of me being sick. So we're really, actually 8 days now. So we're getting to the home stretch. We're getting to the home stretch. All right, let's jump into it, guys. The laws of human nature. This is the same writer, Robert Greene. He's the same writer as 48 Laws of Power. He wrote 48 Laws of Power as well. And you guys have seen me kind of go through this book as well, 48 Laws of Power. But the laws of human nature is it's a different vibe. Where 48 Laws of Power is more of a book that he got criticism for because people started saying it was like evil and there was ways that he was trying to teach people on how to manipulate and take advantage of others and so on and so forth. This book is more about interacting with the world in a positive way. Not necessarily just getting power, but making sure that you're interacting with the world in a positive way. So in this particular part of the book, he talks about a plethora of things, but he really spends a lot of time talking about narcissism. Now, as far as I know, he's not a psychologist or psychiatrist. So, one thing that we all know about, not how you doing? One thing that we all know about narcissism, guys, is that we all have narcissistic tendencies. However, narcissism is something that you have to be diagnosed with. So we throw the word around a lot, but it really is something that a doctor needs to tell you, like, yes, this person has narcissism, or you have narcissism, or narcissist personality disorder, whatever it's called. However, he talks a lot about how that whole entire those narcissistic traits are developed. So I want to just touch on that. He says, from the moment we're born, we have the need for attention. And it's very true, right? We have the constant need for attention. It's part of our social biological makeup, is to have that need for attention. He goes, think about it. Even as you get older, he goes, people will commit a crime, or even worse, unalive themselves, or threaten to unalive themselves, or attempt to unalive themselves just to get attention. It has happened. I've not seen it myself, but I've heard of, one time my friend, his girlfriend, she would do these things, but it was because it was for attention. It's because she's sick, obviously. It wasn't because she's just a little child, but it's a sick crave for attention that we when it gets extreme, that's what it looks like, right? Right. So he said the problem is there's only so much attention to go around. That's the issue, right? Because we're all, we all have our own lives. We all have other people we care about. We all have other responsibilities. We can't go around giving attention all day. And there's only so much to go around, and everybody's competing for it. And you see, the thing is, these days, attention also pays the bills for a lot of people, right? The more people who tune into a YouTube video, for example, the more that person's business is going to grow. The more somebody buys a book, the more somebody's business is going to grow, right? So the more somebody swipes or pushes like on an Instagram post, the more somebody's business is going to grow. So oftentimes with attention and the way we compete for it, people are also competing for their livelihood. So it's actually turned up a whole lot now. It wasn't like this 50 years ago. It wasn't nearly as much like this. You could depend on your skills and your craft behind the scenes in order to become great. I had a conversation over the week. It was my cousin's birthday, and so you get to see some people you haven't seen in a while. And I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he has a really successful business, like really successful 8-figure business. And we were just talking, and he was like, the move and the play is to just enjoy your money behind the scenes, and stay low key, and fly below the radar and stuff like that. And that's the move. That's the play. And I said, yeah, I know that's first of all, I taught you that. I told him, but I also told him the problem is these days people make their money from being on the scene, not behind the scenes. People are making their money because of the fact that they're leveraging their following, their celebrity, their attention to make money. So they can't go behind the scenes. They can't disappear. They can't just enjoy their life behind the scenes because they built a business around getting attention. And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, it's like for you or I who've built our businesses behind the scenes, we are speaking the same language. But other people that build their business literally to get more eyeballs on their content or their product or themselves or whatever that is that they're giving out to the world, those people can't. And so now we have this very tense situation in which we are looking for attention because we crave it, because we are biologically social creatures that need attention, because attention turns into validation, right? And what happens is it's also now tied to our livelihood because it's tied to our paycheck, which is tied to our bank account. Good morning, Christina. And thanks for tuning in. I think Christina's tuning in from Arizona, if I remember correctly. And it's early there. So that's this dilemma that we're in. So what does he say? He says, well, he didn't say the money part, but you get my drift. He goes, what do we do? Either we can double the efforts to get more attention and validation from others, or there's a second option. And he says that the problem with doubling the efforts to get more attention and validation from others is that it can oftentimes have the opposite effect, because now you're just doing things for clicks and views, as we speak about, like as we talk, that's the language we talk today, doing it for clicks and views, doing it for clout. And he says that can actually have the opposite effect, and people will stop giving you attention because they're like, you're just doing it for clicks, you're just doing it for the attention, you're just doing it for views. And it also is a very dangerous path to go down, to just do things for, like, it could get reckless, right? So good morning, Angela. So anyways, he says there is another way that we can do this. And he says we can create a self-image. We can create an image of ourselves where we can extend our positive image and explain away our flaws. He does caution, don't do this too much, where you're explaining away all of your flaws and you're extending all of your positive attributes. Be realistic, because if you don't, other people are going to be realistic for you, right? They're going to call you out on those things. And then it's going to have the opposite effect again, because it's going to make you, it's going to bring your validation right back down. Okay. So he says, we have this positive image, we create it for ourselves, and then we put that out to the world. And then we can have validation within ourselves by just looking in the mirror or just looking at what we've worked on. Maybe you are a musician. Maybe you are an artist of some sort. Maybe you are a builder. You build things. Who knows, right? But the point that he's making is now you're getting that validation from yourself, right? Some people go to the gym. They transform their own entire body. I saw my cousin on his birthday a couple days ago. He lost 20-something pounds. Right. And he was talking about, I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, wow, I still got it. It was just that I was fat. Right. He's like, I'm not old. I just had extra 20-something pounds on me. So he is now recreating himself and developing the self-image, and it's allowing himself to validate himself. Now, there's a word for that. There's a word for that. I wonder if anybody knows a word for that, or a phrase or a term. There's a term for that. When we create a self-image in order to validate ourselves, right? There's a term for that. That term is self-esteem. That's called building your self-esteem. When you build your self-esteem, you don't need all the attention from all the people around you, because you are validating yourself. You've built up your self-esteem. So you're good. You're healthy, right? And this comes through many self-love activities. Okay. This comes from many self-love activities like exercise. So this is where we get to the other side of it. What happens to the people who don't do that? They don't build up their self-esteem. Those ones that still lack attention because there's never enough for them, and there's never going to be enough validation, and they're still longing for all this validation from the people around them. What happens to those people that fail to build up themselves from within? Well, there's also a word for those people, as he says, and those people are narcissists. Those are the people who, and again, I don't think he's a psychiatrist, so I won't use the word narcissist as in to diagnose somebody. So I'm going to actually say those are the people who most demonstrate narcissistic tendencies or narcissistic traits. Those are the people who is like, me, look at me, look what I'm doing now. If the attention's not on me, it needs to get on me. No, I'm going to cut you off from your family, your sister, your brother, because it's supposed to be all about me. Look what I did at work. Look what I bought at whatever. Those are the people who they're full of themselves. And it's interesting that it's because of the fact that they're bankrupt of self-esteem. So they don't have that ability to feel good about themselves, for themselves, by themselves, thereby validating themselves. So in order for them to get validation, they need to now get that from everybody else. And it plays out in the real world. And you're looking at this person like, what the hell is wrong with you? You just can't stop talking about yourself. You just can't. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel got suspended from ABC for playing that clip of Trump talking about Kirk. And they asked him about Charlie Kirk, your friend passed away. And then he's like, I'm doing all right. And look at these wonderful golden this and golden that. We're building a ballroom out here on the White House, and it's going to be the best. It's going to be the best. I'm telling you, it's going to be the best. And you know, it's like, what for us? We're looking at it like, is this a joke? Like, is this a joke, right? And so that's what we see play out in real life. Okay. All right. Shout out to you, Angela. Absolutely. Watch the replay later, please. And for you guys who are on, please like and subscribe and share this with somebody who needs this message. All right, we're going to wrap up here in a bit. So he talks about us all having narcissistic tendencies. However, what really separates a true blue narcissist from just having narcissistic tendencies, like all of us, because we're all on the spectrum, right, is the fact that narcissists do not have the ability to show empathy. They can't show empathy. No, there has been some talk about empathy lately in my timeline that I've been seeing on YouTube and stuff since Kirk's passing, because he had some strong words about empathy. But just to be clear, when I speak about empathy, I'm not talking about sympathy. I'm not talking about feeling sorry for you. I'm talking about understanding yourself, or understanding you from outside of myself. Okay. Now, there are 3 types of empathy. There is the regular logical empathy, right? That is, you're upset about something and I understand why you're upset. I'm not upset. It doesn't bother me. And I wouldn't be upset if it was me, but I can get why you're upset. I see why it bothered you, right? I'm using just upset, but I could use happy. It doesn't matter. Okay. That's just the basic level of empathy that everybody should have, right? Then we have a more of an emotional empathy. An emotional empathy is, I can see that you're upset and I'm upset for you. I get why you're upset, and I also am feeling for you. I'm upset. My mood is down too, because I see that you're upset. Even though it's not happening to me, if it were to happen to me, I would be just as upset, if not more upset than you. And for you, I'm also feeling upset. That's emotional empathy, right? Logical empathy, right? Cognitive, I guess it would be called cognitive empathy, would just be understanding. I don't feel it, but I understand. Then emotional empathy is I'm feeling it too. And then you have like a compassionate empathy, which is I'm feeling it and I'm being moved so much that I want to do something about it. I want to help you in some way, right? I want to help change that situation for you. Now I'm using it in a negative way, but I could use it in a positive way as well. Like, you just graduated from university. I want to throw you a party because I'm so happy for you. I'm feeling so happy that you finally graduated, right? So this is good morning, Tyrone. So this is at its base level. This is basic 3 levels of empathy. Now you have some people. I'm not going to call them fools, even though that's what I think of them. You have some people that say we don't need empathy. We don't need empathy in this world, and empathy is overrated. Empathy is a new term that people throw around just to validate weak people or something like that. That's all nonsense. Like I said, specifically, medically speaking, one of the main traits of a actual narcissist, a true blue narcissist, is their lack of empathy. Now, here's the funny thing. Empathy is a skill, and this is what he talks about here. Empathy is a skill. It's something that you have to work on and learn over time. I can't just understand your situation. Like, if you're mad about something, I need to practice trying to put myself in that person's shoes. Well, the way they were brought up, or well, what they're accustomed to is X, Y, and Z, or what I have to practice that. And he makes a good point in this book, even though this book is written years ago, and it not as where the social media era isn't as, we're not in the thick of it. When he wrote this book, social media wasn't what it is now. That's what I'm trying to say. Forgive me this morning. So he makes a good point, though. He says technology doesn't allow us to naturally build that empathetic skill fast the way we used to. Because if you're always on your phone and you're always lost in the sauce and you're really not interacting with the world around you, and you're seeing a lot of fake things on your phone or on YouTube or whatever, on Instagram or whatever, you're seeing a lot of fake things and you're just flipping through things. You're not actually interacting. So you don't really understand people's situation the way we used to have conversations with somebody. And, oh, so that's what it's like in Belgium. I understand. Oh, that's what it's like traveling to the city every day from there. Like, if, for example, I'm here in my office, and it wouldn't have been until I spoke to somebody who's coming, I don't know, up from the Bronx, to understand what it's like to commute. Like, I wouldn't understand what it's like to commute. But I spoke to one of my agents actually a few months ago. He was telling me he found this bus that comes straight from the Bronx, brings you straight to Midtown. And I was like, in my head, I'm not even thinking like that. I'm not thinking that there's a barrier to get into the office and it's a hassle. And so now I'm understanding, but I don't have that conversation with him if I'm just doing this all day. Right. So we're so lost in the sauce these days that just the standard of empathy has gone down so much. And like I said, as he says, it's a skill that you have to work on and you build over time. In this chapter, which I did not finish actually, so I will finish this. I think I'm only a couple pages, but I'm going to continue this book probably for this week, a couple more days this week, because there is a lot more that he gets into, and including how do we build the skill of empathy and why should we? Why should we? Well, it's because it gives us an advantage in the world. The more we understand about other people, even if it's just a cognitive empathy, as I was talking about, the more we understand about other people and the more we can relate to them, the more useful we are and the more valuable we are to the world and for those around us. And the more useful and valuable you are, the more respected you are. The more respected you are, the more power you are. And obviously, all of our value these days, it's connected to our income streams. So the more valuable you are, the more likely you are to be higher in the income bracket. And so your livelihood is affected by empathy. The more empathy that you have, the better life you can live, right? The more respected you are, the more valuable you are, and obviously the better you live. All right. So that's the introduction to empathy for now. Tomorrow, I'm going to get into how to build these skills of empathy. But I hope I brought you guys far enough so far to at least go and check out this book. It's called The Laws of Human Nature. It's by Robert Greene, and he's the same author that wrote the book 48 Laws of Power. All right, y'all, go and be great and have some empathy for the people around you today. I appreciate y'all, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning.
Your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Like a helicopter, spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Oh, when me choppers them, oh when me choppers them, oh when me choppers them, oh when me choppers them. Rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me. Yo, spin your rags in the air like a chopper. Wave your rags like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Round and round like a helicopter. Spin your rods in the air like a chopper. Wave your rods like a helicopter. Spin your rods in the air like a chopper. High choppers fly, helicopters we drunk cause we drink like a fish in the water. So high like the world spinning faster, dripping with sweat but it don't really matter. The music making me ball out. We see ladies and we call out. Them girls and them whining all out. Look a fight in the back, them brawl out. What? Me no business about that. Girls on me mind, so me thinking about that. Woman in the place, so me hunting for that. Bumpers in me face, so me on the attack. Just give me Henny, yo, give me sack. No racial thing, white oak, Johnny Black. Oh gosh, I gotta catch a jet lag. 1919 does have me feeling high. Like a helicopter, spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us.